Good night, fellow Barbadians. This is Victor Callender. I'm happy to speak to you from the United States in the Pacific Northwest. I am troubled and perplexed by a social media post that I saw from young Kim R. Stewart, who is probably one of the most numerate people that I know um, in Barbados, with reference to a several $100 million loan given by the IDB to shore up the NIS in Barbados. As a Barbadian, I would ask the following questions to the government of Barbados. If you're using a several $100 million loan to shore up the NIS in Barbados, where did the original contributions of those contributing to the INS go? What did the government or governments, plural, do with the monies that were there, placed there by contributors? And two, how would Barbadians know that this government or any other future government will not place contributors back in the same position that they were in before, and that those monies would have to be borrowed again in the future to again shore up the NIS system? We have to understand that, yes, governments don't have all the answers, and neither do citizens have all the answers. But the most important thing in the relationship between citizens and government is transparency. And the lack of transparency offers to citizens that the government is doing something wrong. So, what I would advance in this conversation is that Mia Motley, you and your government in Barbados must have legislative oversight. There needs to be in place in Barbados a system for legislative oversight, that once something happens, um, some form of mechanism goes into place to freeze government spending, limit government spending. This is absolutely crazy because the government of Barbados continuously kicks the can down the road, and the future of Barbados has been mortgaged out. That our children's children will be paying for the debt that we have incurred today. In Barbados, there needs to be in place a system of legislative and judicial oversight. Absent both of those, primarily legislative oversight, we end up with governments using the purse strings of the masses as if, it's their money to do with what they want. These debates that occur in the House of Assembly on Tuesdays are meaningless without the ability to debate issues pertinent to the people of Barbados relative to the purse strings of Barbados and legislative oversight in Barbados. The Auditor General of Barbados should be in on all conversations relative to spending in Barbados. So Parliament, government should not be spending the people's money as if it's just a free for all. It's their money to spend, and that the people are not in any way, shape, or form inclusive in the spending of things as important as NIS and other socially necessary financial systems that prop up poor Barbadians and prop up hardworking Barbadians at retirement. Um, it is time for the government of Barbados to get serious, because it has been milling around in an area of a lot of insincerity and untruth. And what needs to happen in Barbados is that the government needs to come forward with robust debate relative to how and why monies were taken from the National Insurance Scheme, who was responsible for that, who ordered those monies to be removed to pay down debt or to shore up things in civil society that were not necessary relative to NIS monies. If those monies were taken in the last government under the auspices of the Minister of Finance, who did not have a legitimate financial plan, then that should have been brought forward to the people of Barbados and not a buddy-buddy system. If St. Clair was responsible for that, let's hold him responsible. Let's bring it out to the masses so that there's transparency. But if you're using monies, borrowing monies to shore up the NIS, those monies would have to be paid back at a future date at an interest rate. So where are you borrowing? What are you borrowing for? How long are you borrowing for? What's the interest rate? And more importantly, where are you going to get money from to pay back what you owe? Barbados is already the most indebted country in the Caribbean by far. It's the most indebted country. So let's look at the debt Barbados owes to its GDP, and let's figure out. You have economists there like Dr. Clyde Maskell and others. You have economists in the Barbados Labour Party. None of those people able to balance the checkbook of the state of Barbados, the government of Barbados. And if they aren't, Mia Motley, then you need to fire them. Maybe if you can't yourself, you need to step aside. But these are serious times and require serious people. And I love no one or no thing more than I love my beloved people as a collective. So we should be having a serious conversation, an adult conversation about Barbados's purse strings, sitting down with a bipartisan group of Barbadians, because Barbados is for Barbadians, is not for bipartisanship. In a time such as these times, we should be sitting down and in a bipartisan way, figuring out the problems that plague Barbados, and its financial situation is uppermost. You're talking, Mia Motley, about the gathering. How are we going to gather if all we got to go on is some lemons picking some limes from a tree, and maybe some sugar to make some lemonade, and picking a couple of breadfruits out of a tree, and we can't even say fishing no more because, you know, the fish going elsewhere in the Caribbean Sea. So, Mia Motley, it's time to get serious. This is no time for BSing and chugging along without people who are serious about tightening the purse strings of Barbados, and people who have solutions to the problems that plague regular, hardworking Barbadians. Lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way.
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.